Hi everybody, my name is Sam Pedro. In today's video I'll be talking about the book Prisoners of Geography, which was written by Tim Marshall. In this video I'll just briefly summarize the book, kind of share what it's about, and also a few of the things which I learned. I'm really excited to talk about the book today. Geography has always been kind of a passion of mine. I haven't read many books, geography books like this, but I'm really glad I did because I found this book to be absolutely fascinating and very interesting, very eye-opening about a lot of the issues we see today in the world. And so Tim Marshall, and kind of the main point of the whole book, is he tries to say that a lot of the issues, the global issues, the geopolitical issues we see between different countries is a result more of the geography of that country, and that plays a big role into it. And so when we hear of conflicts between nations, and whether it's a difference of opinion or ideas or people, a lot of that is rooted in the fact that geography plays a big role in those things. And so hence the name and the title of the book, Prisoners of Geography. A country really can't escape the geography that it has. Tim Marshall builds out this idea by looking at 10 parts of the world, so 10 countries or 10 regions, and he calls these the 10 maps. And he looks at them and he explains the issues there and how geography actually explains the problem. Because he's taking this idea from a global perspective and he's only giving us 10 examples, a lot of these issues surround global superpowers, so the United States, Russia, China, India. All of these are highlighted, so he's not going to give you a geography issue that's more of a regional issue. But I like that. I liked being introduced to this idea from a very high level perspective. So I'm going to share 3 things that I learned and I found really fascinating. And kind of my purpose in doing this is I think as I explain what I learned, you will be able to get a flavor for what this book is about and how this idea is built upon. The first thing I want to talk about is the United States of America. And from a geography perspective, it is probably the country that has the best geography. And let me explain what that means. So if you look at a map of the United States, to the north of us we have Canada, to the south there is Mexico. Both of these countries are very big, and we've had friendly terms with them for most of our history. But if you look even deeper, so if you look north at Canada, a lot of Canada is represented by the Canadian Shield, which is kind of this barren land. It's hard to move through. There's not a lot of development in this area. And then if you look at Mexico, the northern part of Mexico that touches the United States is the Sonoran Desert. So it's this dry desert land, again, hard to pass through. And this sets us up almost like 2 natural barriers to the United States. So to the north and the south, no army could come and conquer the United States. No one would want to go through Canada, through the Canadian Shield, and down into the United States. And no one would want to go through Mexico and up through this desert to the United States. So for a long time, that's protected America. And that has left this huge country that has been very hard to penetrate. And so that's already one reason why America has become so powerful. Another geography topic that has made the United States as powerful as it is its river system. So the United States has the most navigable rivers in the world, so the Mississippi River and some of the other rivers in the United States. And when a river is so navigable and can get you from the ocean and go way, hundreds of miles into the interior of the country, that allows goods and ideas and people to just freely move back and forth, which is great for the economy and has helped build up the United States economy. Another very interesting thing is if you look at the East Coast, a lot of the East Coast have these natural harbors that are just aren't found anywhere else in the world. So for example, New York and New York Harbor, that is just a natural wonder that has allowed, whatever city was going to be built at New York was going to be an economic powerhouse because so much trade could happen early on. And so that helped aid in making New York City this global city. And overall, I think the point that Tim Marshall makes is the United States, geographically speaking, is in the best spot in the world. And if a country could have been set up from east to west, that country was destined to be a world superpower. Now I want to talk about China. This was kind of an interesting topic he talks about. So specifically, he talks a lot about China and China's involvement in Tibet and the Tibetan plateau. And from an ethnic perspective, the Tibetan people and the Han Chinese people, they are very different culturally and ethnically. And so there's really no reason why China should be involved in Tibet, but they are. And China is doing everything it can to strengthen its grip on Tibet. They're importing millions of Han Chinese people into Tibet to make sure that Tibet never leaves. And the reason why is between China and India, you have the Himalayan mountain range, but you also have Tibet. And so India would never think of, attacking China through the Himalayan mountains. That's just an insane prospect. That's not where you want to be fighting a battle in the world's most mountainous region. But if they could get past that and establish a stronghold in Tibet, then China is at a vulnerable spot, because all of a sudden India could just descend down onto China. So they definitely don't want that. So from a military perspective, China is very interested in Tibet and making sure that they control that region. Also, another big issue is the Tibetan plateau is the headwaters of the Yellow and the Yangtze River, which is the rivers that pretty much feed and water all of China. So also another very important thing that they want to protect. So another interesting idea from the book. The last idea I'll just briefly talk about that I found interesting was it talks about Africa as a continent and some of its geography problems. And so Africa is this super abundantly rich country, but the way the geography is set up, it doesn't allow those goods to be moved out of Africa very easily. A lot of it has to do with the rivers. So like I had mentioned, in the United States, very easy to get into the interior via a boat or a ship, but in Africa that's not the case. A lot of the rivers, they go a few miles inland, and then there's the continent is pretty much raised up, and so you'd have to get up a waterfall. And so I remember learning about this in school, and I just thought it was fascinating. But Africa has this problem where it's hard to get its resources out, and when that is the case, economically, they're missing out on a lot. In the book, it also talks about some of the colonial issues that have left Africa to be in a very bad position. So those are my 3 big takeaways, and hopefully me sharing those kind of help show what the book is about and how it teaches this idea that geography plays a bigger role in geopolitics than we are led to believe. The book goes further into talking about Russia, in Latin America, and Europe, and the Arctic, and even South Asia. And it's just really fascinating from beginning to end. I learned a lot, helped me change kind of the way I view the world. So I'm really glad I read this book. And that being said, I recommend this book to everybody. I think it's fascinating. I think it's eye-opening. I think it's enjoyable and well-written. So I really, really liked this book. And hopefully you found today's video to be helpful. If you did, leave a comment below. If you've read it, leave a comment below. Let me know what you thought about the book. And I will see you in the next video.